white one. That's on the end. There'll be a stone.
Oh.
On top of the Opera Hotel. It's very nice to have food there because you can see a panoramic view for the whole town.
Good.
Go China number one. Huh?
لا لا كوكو يا ست الكل انا حاجه هخليها لك فول دلوقتي والله انا ما اقدرش على زعلك
يعني استنوني من الاخر مستني
والله ما اقدر على زعلك بس البزنس هلو
Now on Lake Nasta, and this is yet another temple.
6 hours from the
The high jump.
to take all your offerings. This is here in the first open court. All the offerings were accepted from the ancient Egyptian time except human sacrifice. This is the first open court, and in the first open court we are going to find at our left hand side where some of the people are seated here after the Egypt flag. This is something known as Mamisi, that came from the word Mam.
What was so important was that they found it underwater and they actually moved it block by block. It took 8 years and completed in 19.
What's the time? How many minutes? 40 plus. So how many minutes do you need for photography? You suggest. Okay. Anyone need more time? And for building new factories, he needed electricity. So the temple of Isis that we were just here from 10 minutes ago. Can you see it?
We're actually driving
Here where sound and light
now.
is show of the, by the way, there is a very famous architecture known as Dr. Hassan 1888. It has different trends.
This is the unfinished obelisk. The largest obelisk in the world. The old Cataract Hotel, the Cataract Hotel, where Death on the Nile was filmed. And has just come down these steps and got in this boat.
Yeah, he's very old. He's not very well, is he? He's got a hat on.
Wait and see him, he's got a straw hat
Yeah, he's
on.
got a header hat on. There he is, there. See him with a hat. The ghost centre, that's it.
There's the one with the straw hat, President Mitterrand.
Better when you can see his head. Right, his hand.
I must have to take a picture of that, mustn't I? You must. Where is he? Yes, that's...
He's there, he is there. See in the middle. See between the guy in the red shirt and the other guy. That's him.
You probably need to see his middle.
I see him. Just sort of nodding. Some security guys came by and goes, shipped us out.
Well, you never know what you might go in to see. Always keep your camera with you.
I feel like writing a month novel all of a sudden.
Victorian outside in the garden on the terrace.
Where we came to
We're on the aeroplane in Aswan. We're just about to take off for a half-hour's flight to Abu Simbel. Just get it on.
Who lived about 1200 before Christ, he erected temples all around Egypt. Of course, all of you know the reason. He's a man who ruled for 67 years. He was so fond of himself, he wanted to assure it's all around. This is happening here. He came to the very south of Egypt, which is Abu Simbel. He wanted to assure his power and his ability to control the land. That's why he go to the southern quarters and erected a temple. With 4 statues belonging to him, the length of each statue is about 20 meters high. This is because that's why he made huge figures of himself. The width of the facade is about 32 meters on the top, 35 meters at the base. He also erected a temple to his beloved wife Nefertari. He erected for ladies, for queens, wives of the king. A lot of you are going to ask me, and what's about the temple of Hatshepsut? Exactly, as you say, she was a king, she was ruling. But this, she was just the wife of the king, to sink under the water. The level of the base here is about 124 meters above the sea level, and there is about 120. And the level of the water at the back of the high dam varies. It can reach till 182 meters. Remember that from yesterday? So it covers all the temples. That's why Egypt launched an appeal for UNESCO, please help us. So they start sending different people to study the ability of moving the temple. First of all, they start thinking of surrounding the temple by a covered dam and sucking out the water and keeping this covered dam to protect the temple. But we found that this covered dam is not going to allow the entrance of the sun to the temple, the striking of the sun to the facade and to the inside. So we neglected this opinion. They start thinking of making a concrete dome and build the temple on top of it. A dome to be a higher location. And a little bit towards the back on top of this area. This, especially that the water was already rising and covering part of the temple, so we have to work very quickly. By the way, one of the doctors who helped in moving this temple was our teacher in the faculty. So he told us that we used to walk here while it was already inunted. So they used to be held on the shoulders of certain men, specialists, who can walk in the water, and they used to hold the man with 1 pound and the lady with 1 pound and the man with 2 pounds for them, and they start coming inside on the shoulders of the people and sucking out and making pipes to suck out the water. Okay, so this temple starts to be dry. Now we want to cut it. We have a big problem. If we start cutting this temple, the rocks from the top can fall on the statue, because this temple was carved in the rocks in a mountain. So this problem, we had to be very careful about it. It was solved by covering the facade with sand, surrounding each face of Ramses with steel bars, filling it with sand. Each square of steel bars, we fill it with sand. Each tapul from the top, you see the monkeys on the top, was surrounded with steel bars and covered with sand. Then we make steel tunnels to the inside of the temple. And inside of the temple, we consolidate each rock by placing steel bars inside and wooden bars, and we start climbing on top of them. Then we start cutting the mountain and keeping it aside. Now we come to the temple itself. The temple itself was carved in the rock. This means it wasn't already divided to blocks. You have to divide it from the very beginning. If we use mechanical machines, it's going to be too hard to then destroy the whole temple. That's why we have to use manual saws to divide the temple to blocks. Very slowly cutting, vertically and horizontally. We cut them to about 42,000 blocks, this and the other temple, and some of the blocks were too heavy, so we have to lift them by levers. We make here we cut already blocks, and we make at the back of we mark each block, and at the back of each block we made a hole, enter the lever, and with machines we start lifting them, keeping them aside. Scientists, archaeologists start going and examining these blocks and start to rebuild them here. Solved by the scientists also by placing a very, very strong adhesive material. And if you look to the face of Ramses II, you won't recognize the cuts. Some of these cuts are less than 3 millimeters. And they fixed them together. It was opened, this project took about 4 years only, from 64 to 68 it was opened to public. This temple is erected by Ramses II to assure his power. The main thing that happened inside this temple is commemorating the important events of the fight of Qadesh. This is a fight that was held on the 5th year of the reign of Ramses II. According to our records, we say that he had won. According to the Hittite rappers, they say they win the battle. But we think that Ramses II is what he's saying is more correct. You know why? Because he had written this battle on top of many the enemies. So it was ended by peace treaty. We're going to go to the inside now. By the way, the Battle of Qadesh is not represented it's not represented part by part, but it just placed haphazardly on the walls. So I'm going to tell you what's happening, and we just see the figures on the walls. Okay? The Hittites are people. One of them at the right, one of them at the left. The one with the figure of the king holding the enemies by their hair, ready to smite them with his knees in front of the main god of this part, Ra. On the other side, there is exactly a similar figure, but in front of Abu. Okay. Then we're going to see the pictures of the war here, where we're going to see the troops of the Egyptian troops attacking the Hittite troops. And we can see some of the horses falling down, some of the enemies falling down, and you can see that all the swords are directed from here to there. So all the Egyptians can win the Hittites, and they are, you can see the battle, where you can see the fall down horses, the fashion of each.
This is Linda outside Addison.
The small temple is the only temple erected surrounded by two ones up.